What's going on, guys? It's Matt, and we're back. And what a crazy week this week! We saw some huge sell-off, but that just means there's more opportunity to get in a better price, a lower price, because we have been seeing some tremendous growth since the big drop during COVID. As you can see, this is the Nasdaq. We just hit previous highs this week on almost all the three main indexes: the Dow Jones, the S&P, and the Nasdaq. So there's going to be some sell-off. There's going to be times where it's not just straight up. There's going to be ups and downs. There are things that are on sale for a very good price, but they still could drop lower this week, maybe next week, maybe for another month. We don't know. It's hard to time the market. You can never time it perfectly, but you need at some point you just have to try to get in and just let it ride. So we're just going to go over a couple stocks here today. The first one's going to be GEVO. These are ones that I've seen that pulled back recently, that have come to a price point that's undervalued at the moment. They could go lower, but we would hope in the long run that they continue to go up. This is GEVO, and what they do is they ferment yeast and they produce some, kind of fuels and things for jets and whatnot. So it's a relatively new idea. But as you can see, massive growth. We've had a nice pullback right to the 200 SMA. We do have earnings coming up, which could go either way because right now earnings are just crazy. They hope to see this one back at $16 in the coming months or so. So it's on sale. It's only $9 right now, so it's a pretty good deal. The next one's going to be DTIL. This is a Precision Biosciences. They do genome editing. They're genome editing company. So they've had their ups and downs as too. They're a little more up and down when they're a bio company like this, but we could see we've had some steady growth ever since back in October of last year. We're back to the 200 SMA. We do have earnings coming up here before market time on the 10th, so we have to keep that in mind. But this has a nice pattern to it, and genome is kind of going to become one of the biggest things in the coming years here. There's not only DTIL, but there's EDIT. They're another genome editing company. As you can see, they're very, very, very down here, down to 43 from highs of almost $100. So this is another one that is I see is on sale. I'm not expecting it to go straight back up again. Like none of these are going to go straight back up. It's going to take time, but in the long run, they should be worth it in a year or so. Another one I'm going to go over is SFIX, SFIX. They sell clothes and whatnot to your door, but and they do custom stuff. You can pick your style and whatnot, but we just dipped right below the 200. We could see some resistance there at the 200 SMA, but we do have earnings coming up as well. A lot of earnings this month and in the last month, and more to come. But we could see we usually stay above it, so this time we did dip below. We could see some bouncing around, maybe trend lower before we come back up. But another one that's only 72 on sale a little bit there. And another one's going to be DY. We think we talked about this one last week. As you can see, we got kind of a bounce here, but we really didn't go anywhere. Now we're trending below. We do have earnings coming up again, but this one's been seeing some consistent growth. And this one, if I do believe, if I look at the credentials here, they do contract services throughout the United States and construction, so they won't be affected as much. A lot of things that got affected this week were solar and tech and things like that. This one's a totally different industries, construction, so it wouldn't be affected as much if we did see more selling off this week or next week. So something to keep in mind. And the other one is going to be JMIA, JMIA. This is like the African Amazon is what they're calling it. But they do have kind of like a monopoly almost over there, selling things online and whatnot. And you can see we've seen some strong growth this past year. Back here we did dip below again, just like we are kind of now. We could see some bouncing around for a while before we start to continue back up and get another run, because we are up 600% from October, so we're pretty well extended. We're going to see some pullback before we see some more growth, or there has to be some major news story that comes out that's going to really push this thing over the top. But one that's going to probably be up to 100, by in a year or so. And then the last one here is going to be OEG. We talked about this one frequently. They are a solar company, and they were up almost at $10-11 just the previous week. We talked about it back here a couple months ago. Now we've come back to $6 or $6, almost back to where it had a kind of previous support here at $4, a little lower. But we could see some consolidation here for a couple weeks or so, and I'm expecting this thing to take off again once some of this market fear goes away. You can see some of these companies shoot right back up, kind of like the COVID thing. We had a big dip for a while. What was it, like a couple weeks or something, where it was just 30% down on the major indices, and then we just pumped right back up in pretty much a V pattern. And so those are the picks for this week, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next week.